Karen needs to get into a research lab to talk to the manager. Boom, 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 boom. In a world where employees seek to destroy her, she is. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know where this joke's going. I kind of ran it. I gotta be honest, I ran out of steam out of the first one.
Terminator stuff. Sure, Terminator. We're back. Hey,
Yep,
everybody.
we are
Welcome
back.
To
We're getting to the end.
Piloting Karen, or rather, she's piloting us.
You know what's going to be announced next year, I suspect.
Division 4.
I was going to say Division 3, but yeah, sure.
Maybe.
Man, what a sweet combat role.
You know what, Adam?
What?
We'll get right into the lore. We're doing the Pentagon missions.
Okay.
This is DERPA.
This is welcome to the Division Lore podcast, brought to you by Aaron Black Tusk and Adam Doesn't Give a Shit.
Yep. Well, you remember last time we were talking about Black Tusk.
Yep.
It might have been last time. It was some previous episode. And whether or not certain elements of the story were canon. Well, Season 3 just wrapped up, and the last mission canonized two things.
Ooh.
One is that the White Tusk are, in fact, an element of the Black Tusk.
Ooh.
Which previously they were only something you could do in legendary missions and really had no narrative connection. And the second was Hunters. The Hunters are now canonized in the narrative.
Ooh.
And have been working with the Black Tusk the whole time.
Oh, man.
Not really, though. Only one of them. And we killed them.
Okay, I was going to say, like, that would be about as big a twist as finding out that the Locusts were the bad guys of Gears of War 4. Which was the worst. I've said it so many times. I'm not going to bother saying it again.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily that, like, oh, man, Hunters were bad guys. What? It's that, like, this one Hunter in particular was working with Black Tusk.
You mean Aaron Keener?
No.
Well, he was working with Black Tusk, wasn't he?
He kind of, yeah, but he was kind of just using Black Tusk to further his agenda.
Right.
But Barton Schaefer, what we thought was the leader of the Black Tusk, was working with a hunter in particular, and was contacted by an individual, Natalia something or other, some Russian last name.
Romanov?
Nope. Natasha Romanoff. Black Widow's back. Oh shit, I should have used my skill build for this. I hate this fucking part.
Do you like getting peppered apart by 4 drones every 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Welcome to this mission.
Should have used my skill build for this part. Let me do it. There we go. But yeah, they're starting to allude to the corporation or organization or whatever it is that employed Black Tusk to destabilize.
You mean like the Illuminati or whatever it is?
Whatever that version. Oh man, they flew off.
Fucking hell.
Whatever the version of the Illuminati is in the division, yeah. Which is cool. You say what reminded me of that was you said Division 3 maybe be announced next year. They totally could. I don't know if they have plans on continuing it in this game, if there'll be another expansion. But based on the plot that they set up, or are setting up, fuck me. If there's a mission I'm going to die on, it'll be this one. Yeah, based on what they're setting up, they could totally do another game, because there's a lot of material that they're hinting at.
Halfway there. Get that other power terminal offline.
And you're just getting shot from every angle.
Hey, now I can move. Let's move back this way. I was using this build because I was trying to get through it fast, but I forgot about this fucking part.
Also, I like how the White Tusks are inherently better than the Black Tusk in this era of Black Lives Matter. Good job, whoever made this game, Snowdropper.
Massive.
Massive, there we go.
The White Tusk were an afterthought. It wasn't a lore thing.
Oh, okay.
The Black Tusk came out, and then when they rebalanced the game, they added a legendary mode, and they wanted to like make harder enemies. So they said, well, what can we do with the Black Tusk? I don't know, let's change the color. Now they're White Tusk.
Okay, so they're white, are they?
Yeah, they physically have white like
armor
and shit, yeah.
Okay, so they're like stormtroopers. Or clone troopers,
kinda.
since they're probably tougher.
You can also unlock their armor if you finish all of the legendary missions.
Have you done that?
I've done 2 of them, but Roosevelt Island on Legendary is, well, they're all kind of a pain in the ass, but I haven't really managed my way through that one yet.
Assault drones detected.
Okay, I forgot what these drones. Anyway, that was real cool.
Yeah.
We hadn't, Hunters have been in both games. There's
They're
lots
just
of
like rogue
hunters.
division agents, are they?
No, there's not really much lore about the hunters. They're just super high-level enemies that hunt division agents.
For fun, I guess.
Yeah, for fun. apparently.
Johnson, it's the world's most dangerous game. To hunt man.
And I hadn't really... There was actually kind of a cool arc with the hunter in this last season because they kept showing up throughout all of the manhunt missions. And I didn't really clue into it until the very end where they show up in the mission. And it's like, oh, it's that same fucking guy again. Because he'll show up, wreck your shit, and then fuck off. You're like, okay, random hunter shows up, alright. But then, yeah, they show up at the end, and it's revealed they're working with the Black Tusk.
Do you kill him?
You do kill him, yeah.
Okay.
And you take his mask, which is this. Where is it? This one. Deceit.
Ooh.
A cool mask that I'll never wear.
No.
I wouldn't have. I'm surprised by it because I wouldn't have expected the seasonal stuff to actually progress the narrative at all.
See, that's what Destiny does. The only stuff, like the seasonal stuff, progresses the narrative massively in Destiny. I mean, they might be taking a page out of Destiny's book there.
Maybe. I was really just like, okay, they're moving away from like we have warlords now. Cool. They're doing seasons. They'll add some new cosmetic items. Right on.
I gotta complain about Destiny for a bit.
And then surprise narrative. Yep. Go for
I
it.
still maintain that Destiny has some of the best lore you'll ever see in any video game, and I will stand by that. But the latest expansion came out a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't pick it up because I can't be bothered, because the last couple just didn't... I haven't cared enough to want to try. Man, that guy was facing the wrong way. From what I've heard, it's a mixed bag in terms of the expansion. In terms of like writing and characters and that kind of stuff. But there's this YouTube channel I watch called My Name is Byf, BYF. A great YouTube channel. He does Destiny lore among other stuff, and it's really. And when you hear him talk about it, it's really interesting. Some of the stuff that he was talking about that was brought up in the latest expansion is super interesting, like transhumanism and like self-determination. What is the human soul? Like how can you? It's essentially talking about like, can you download a human consciousness into a robot body so that they can live forever? Like, is that possible, or is there going to be something intrinsically lost? Like, when the transfer happens, like, does the human soul need the body to function? That's super interesting stuff. All of it, every single fucking thing about that, as far as I'm aware, only really comes up in the lore books, which you have to read, like a Wikipedia entry. It's a shame because there's so much interesting stuff in Destiny, so much interesting potential, but it doesn't come up in the narrative. And if it does, it's so basic. And I've played the game. It's so, like, there's so many times where I played, like, here's an example. One of the 2 expansions ago, every expansion gets a new raid. 2 expansions ago, the raid was called The Last Wish. The team that beat The Last Wish first, or second or something, they're like one of the top Destiny teams in the world. Yep. They took this guy, My Name is Byf, on a playthrough of the raid, where they would play through the raid, and at every point he would explain what exactly was going on in the raid, and every single one of them said, I had no idea that's what we were doing here. And like, because they beat the raid and that kind of stuff, and it was interesting puzzles and stuff, but they didn't realize like the raid's mechanics were actually tied into the story. Like, what you were doing in, as you progress through the raid was actually building upon the story in a very interesting way. It doesn't come up in the narrative. Like, these people didn't know, and like, I guess you could say, yeah, but they're more concerned about playing the game than they are about the story. But like I feel like any time I play Destiny, I'm not really getting the context of it until I watch one of his YouTube videos about it. That's terrible storytelling for a game that's like that. It's people will say, well, Dark Souls has a story like that. And to an extent, that's fair, but Dark Souls' world is kind of built for that, where, like, the whole point of the world, you can play, a legitimate way of playing Dark Souls is just to be playing through and not really knowing what you're doing or why. You're given vague directions to go on, but you have the opportunity to look in deeper and figure out more. In Destiny, it's not that, like, they have the potential to tell these big story moments, because they have things like cutscenes, and they have things like, like character dialogue, which is not something which in Dark Souls is very different, but they just don't utilize it correctly, in my opinion, to do what needs to be done. And it's
Yeah.
super fucking annoying because it has such excellent potential, and they just, in my opinion, feel free to disagree, but they just don't do anything with it.
Yep.
Man, you're just rinsing through these enemies. Fuck me.
Oh shit.
Can't even make it over the fence. He's all like an asshole.
Eh.
Oh no! They're coming in behind me. I gotta get over the fence.
Yeah, no, I mean, Destiny. We've said it 100 times. At least I have, in different avenues on this channel in different
That blew the
respects.
shit out of your drone.
But Destiny was not the game that I thought it was.
I don't think Destiny was the game Bungie thought it was going to be. I genuinely think about near the end of the development cycle, Activision bought Bungie or partnered with Bungie or whatever, and then changed the direction of the game. And I definitely think that it is for the detriment of Destiny, because having seen, I don't know for certain, because obviously this kind of stuff has been lost to time, or you have to like dig, to interview people and really dig into the game's development history. At least the first one. I think the game was going to end up being much different. I think it was always going to be a multiplayer game. I think it was going to be structured differently. I think it was going to be presented differently. I genuinely, I don't know exactly what would have been, but I definitely think it would have been better had Activision not interfered with it.
Yeah, I was all about like a, not Skyrim, but like an MMO-ish. MMO in the sense that you could see other players in hub areas, kind of, I guess, like Division. But then, when you're out in the world, you're on your own. You got your own spaceship. It's like a fantasy world in space.
Yeah.
And you kill stuff. You do your missions. There's like narrative quests. There's different planets and things to go to. I guess not entirely dissimilar to how the game is, except it would just be much more like quest-oriented, story-oriented, than kill a ton of things and unlock some new cosmetic and then rinse and repeat and not really know what's going on. Like, the lore would be very upfront in the game, like, I guess in the way that like Skyrim or Oblivion or something is. That sort of structure, but with shooting and space travel.
Yeah, and that would be interesting, and I think that Destiny could have been that. I just don't think that's what we got. I genuinely think that if somebody were to take the time and make a Destiny pen and paper, it would be amazing, because again, brilliant lore. I have used some of it as inspiration for some of my own writing. Like some of the stuff that they've talked about. It is really, really cool.
Oh Jesus!
It presented terribly.
Yeah.
And that's the major issue.
Also, that 10-year deal thing, in my mind, was like one game.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna make this game, you're gonna develop this game for 10 years and just update it. If that's not possible because of like different graphical improvements or things that you're doing, then like re-release the first game in the new engine so that you have access to all of the content. Kind of, I guess, in the way that Hitman has done it, where like if you buy the second game, you still have access to everything that was in the first one if you owned it. So that, something like that would be cool.
I don't know. It's just like, okay, like, so there's this character called Mithrax, who is one of the Fallen, and essentially what the Fallen are is, okay, so in the lore of Destiny, humanity ended up meeting the Traveler, which is that big round ball thing in all the games, and the Traveler is basically like a god, kind of, and he uplifted humanity and like gave them super advanced technology, or it gave them super advanced technology and like knowledge and all that kind of stuff, and blah blah blah. Oh, this part.
Yep, casually the hardest part of the game.
Yep.
Or second hardest.
What's the hardest part?
Probably the Keener fight.
Oh yeah, fuck that. Anyway, eventually that all came and it created a new gold lane for humanity. That all came crumbling down in an event called the Collapse, in which the darkness, whatever the hell that is, ended up coming into the solar system and just crushed humanity. The Traveler sacrificed himself to save humanity, but ended up having to go dormant in order to do so. But it fought back the darkness. The thing is, though, this has happened before. the last species that the Traveler uplifted like that were the Fallen, the enemy faction, who are, in their language, they call themselves the Elixni. They used to be, you know, for lack of a better term, good guys, but when the Traveler abandoned them, when the darkness came, their civilization collapsed, and they ended up trying to follow the Traveler, trying to reclaim it, and they ended up becoming like pirates and raiders and that kind of thing. So they've been a major antagonistic force within the Destiny universe for, you know, as long as the games have been out, and in the lore of the game since the collapse. There's this character called Mithrax, who is teaming up with the Guardians, which are like the player characters, and he is trying to recreate the Elixni bond with the Traveler by being good guys, essentially by working with the humans and saying, look, we can work together in order to, you know, you need our help, we need your help, let's work together to try and beat back the darkness. That's super, and I'm, you know, all super simplifying it, but it's super interesting to be able to work with a once enemy and have him come around to your point of view and then fight and be like, is this really the right path for my people? And like trying to win over his people's side. Most of his story is told in those fucking you know, lore books. Which, fair enough, if you want to get it and read it, that's fine enough. I just feel like that would make really interesting cutscenes and characters and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's
just one example.
That's an element of that type of game that I feel is critical and is totally lacking.
Yeah.
Like, to be able to, almost died there. To be able to, you know, have a game like Destiny, but also have those, like, plot decisions. Do I help this guy or this guy? Here are the consequences. I have to pick one because this is how it is.
Yeah.
You know, who do you favor? And then that has consequences later in the game.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of the stuff you're doing suddenly has weight to it, rather than just doing a raid and not knowing what the fuck you're doing.
Like the
bounce the magic balls or whatever.
Not necessarily the main bad guy, but the main like the kind of central antagonist of the latest expansion is another Fallen called Eramis. Eramis the Ship Stealer. Eramis of the House of Ruin or Darkness or Shadow or whatever the fuck she calls it. She has a really interesting story. It very deep and nuanced, as are her motivations. But like nobody knew who the fuck. Like most casual players and most people, unless they're really deep into the lore, don't know who she is or what her motivations are because it's all told in the fucking lore books. Hey man, I've been whinging on about this for about 20 fucking minutes.
Also, I just noticed that we don't have the dinosaur on here.
What the fuck?
Yeah, sorry, I changed it to recent league reward. There we go.
Was that it looked like the
it kind of looked like Witcher, and I don't think it's Witcher, but it definitely looked
I would be very surprised if it was. It might be like a nod to it though.
No, I think it was Wolf Charm. No idea. It's probably something to do with Valhalla.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's probably it.
Because there was also this one, which I thought totally looked like the Assassin's Creed logo. Which was a recent reward as well. So like a wolf jaw or something in an A shape. Anyway. Because they also named, when Odyssey came out, right around the time that was out, they came out with the exotic called Eagle Bearer. So
that's
they're
cool.
really up their own ass with their own games.
Yep.
So where's the wolf-kissed exotic? Massive? Please and thank you.
Wolf-kissed?
Yeah, that's in Valhalla, your character Eivor the Wolf-Kissed.
Oh, that's a cool name.
Yeah.
It's a cool title.
Yeah. Anyway, that's DARPA. We're done. We came in, we rinsed the place, we got the Bar Fusion Reactor, which the Black Tusk were going to use to engineer a virus, and now we can use to engineer some sort of vaccine.
Yeah. What can we, what's left? Is it just New York?
So now we got to head to Coney Island.
Oh, right, Coney Island.
So to Coney Island we go.
Yeah, that'll be next time, no?
It will indeed. This one's a little short, but I guess that's all you can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see you next time in Coney.
Toodaloo!
Thanks for watching. And enjoy Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah.